Alrighty, it's 10 a.m. by my watch, so can everybody hear me okay and see the syllabus that I've put on the screen sharing thing here?
Yes, sir.
All right, so today all I have to do is talk about the layout of the class and then go over the syllabus. So let's first talk about how I would like the class to work, and then you can give me your feedback or whatever on that, and we need to change things, we can. So it's my intention to record video lecture material and have that available for you guys to watch prior to our class meetings. Then we will use our actual scheduled class meetings to answer any questions you guys may have about the pre-prepared material and work practice problems from old tests and textbooks and stuff that I've found that will help reinforce that material and better prepare you for the exams and approaching your homework and all that kind of good stuff. So to reiterate, what I would like to do is have a pre-recorded lecture for you guys to watch covering the theory. And then before class even starts, I'll have a selection of problems posted online, and we will work through those together, where you'll have opportunities to ask questions and all that kind of good stuff during the actual live portion of the class. And then that's kind of how I would like things to be structured. So is anybody wildly opposed to that? Let's start there. Nobody's really saying much of anything, so I'm going to take that as meaning you guys are okay with that style. I'm doing this because the feedback on my live presentation of material last quarter was lackluster at best. Most people preferred being able to watch my YouTube videos where I explained things because they could go back and rewind and look at bits again that were maybe a bit confusing and try to figure things out. So that's the way we're going to go. So with that being said, then today, all we have left to do is talk about the syllabus. As it says, I'm Dr. Matthew Hartman. My office is Nethkin Hall 211. I will actually be in my office most Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. So if you're on campus and feel the need to meet with me in person, we can do that as long as we maintain social distancing and all that kind of jibber jabber. My office hours are Monday 10 to noon, Tuesday, Thursday 1 to 5. No office hours on Wednesday or Friday because I work in Bossier for Sabre Industries doing design work for them on those days. My office hours are both for in-person and virtual. I'm effectively going to be on a computer of some sort pretty much from 7:30 in the morning until 5:30 p.m. Every day. So if you need to contact me, just shoot me an email and we can try to set up a Zoom meeting or something like that if you want to use Zoom, or we can just answer questions back and forth via email. Either way is fine. So these office hours aren't by any means limited to that. Just if you have a question, ask me. If it's after 6 p.m., I'm probably watching Netflix with the wife, and so I won't get back with you until the next day. So it is what it is. All right. Let's see. My office phone number is on there, and my email's on there. There's a note about how everything's going to be on Moodle because of the coronavirus and all that kind of crap. Course objectives, we're going to learn an awful lot about circuit analysis. I have 24 lectures prepared, and there will be 24 web work assignments based on those. We'll get to that bit in a minute. Textbook and reading material, Engineering Circuit Analysis 9th edition by Height, Kimmerly, and Durbin. That is the official textbook for this class. Unofficially, you're going to have my notes as well as video lectures and all that stuff available to you, so that should cover all of the material. If you want a textbook, if you Google the phrase CAD space Ulaby, U-L-A-B-Y, there's a textbook called Circuit Analysis and Design by Fawad T. Ulaby, Michelle Maharbez, and Cynthia First that is available for free by the authors. It's a PDF copy. So I think it's a very good textbook. So you can get that and not have to spend, I don't know how much textbooks cost anymore, but it was ludicrously expensive when I was in school. So my best guess is they're even more expensive now. So by all means, please download this free textbook and save yourself hundreds of dollars. If you need special testing or classroom classroom accommodations doesn't really make sense, but if you need extended time for your exam or anything like that, discuss it with me as soon as possible. As far as attendance goes, that'll be measured by the participation in the because this class is being taught as both synchronous, meaning that some students can be online while I'm talking about stuff, and asynchronous, meaning that things are going to be recorded and you can view it at your leisure. I'm not really sure how I'm going to handle attendance. Attendance isn't part of a grade or anything. I know I have to do it. So I'll work on the logistics of that shortly, but it'll probably be based on your submissions to something on Moodle. Academic misconduct, don't cheat and be less of a jerk than I am, and we'll be perfectly okay. Like I said previously, the homeworks will be covered on, everything will be on WebWork. Traditionally, what I did was the WebWork assignment would be due the day after the next lecture. So for instance, homework assignment 1, which will be corresponding with lecture 1, would be assigned on Monday and would be then due on Thursday. And the reason I staggered things like this was to allow students to attend a circuits tutoring session that I was doing twice a week. But because we're in such an odd space right now, what I'm considering doing, and by all means give me feedback on this if you want, is instead just opening up literally all of the homeworks for the entire quarter today, and having the due date for those homeworks be the end of the quarter. And so you guys can have as much time to work on the problems as you want. That way I won't have to go back through and reopen things or give people extensions or anything like that. It's just going to be on you to keep up with the homework. Is anybody opposed to that? No one is saying anything. Okay. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to open up all the homeworks and you'll have the entire quarter to work on them. The homeworks follow the lectures pretty well. So it's just going to be up to you guys to stay on track with regards to those. Since we're going for an kind of an inverted classroom setting where you're viewing the lecture material before we actually meet, you may absolutely ask questions of me regarding the homeworks and things like that during our live class meetings. And the questions that you ask will be recorded and distributed to everybody so that people that aren't able to attend the Zoom meetings will still get the benefit of you asking questions and then me or other people answering them. All right, in-class assignments. So these are what the prepared problems that I'm going to bring to each class meeting are. So I'm going to have a few problems that will reinforce the lecture material that you are to have reviewed before class. We'll work through them together. Typically speaking, these problems would be worked by people sitting at the same table, but since we can't really do that, I'll just have a online submission portal where you can submit your work of how we worked through them. There are also going to be, I believe, 8 miniature lab assignments. Again, these usually would be done in groups of 2 to 3 students. Instead, they're going to be a virtual lab assignments where in some cases I will present you data and you will need to interpret that data and do some processing of it. In other cases, we will be using an online lab platform. I'm trying to remember what the name of the makers of Autodesk has a free circuit simulation tool type thing where you can change tolerances and all that kind of stuff. So I'm moving our labs to be virtual to be able to, you guys still get some limited experience with the experiments that we would normally do in an in-person circuits class that will also try to help reinforce some of the topics. So that's work in progress. So I'll get those up as soon as possible and then allow you to start messing around with things. Exams. There are 3 exams given during this course. All are closed book and closed notes. They will be implemented using on Moodle using the Respondus lockdown browser. Probably some of you got some experience with that last quarter. So you'll take your tests online. It will be a multiple choice exam, and then within a half hour of completing your exam, you are expected to scan and upload all of your work. If you do not upload your work, your grade for the exam will be a 0. So I need to see that you're doing the work yourself and not cheating and all that kind of good stuff. Let's see, here's how the weights are gonna go. Homework is 15% of your grade, 10% assignments, 5% a notebook. I'm probably not actually gonna collect that notebook. Instead, we'll just make the Moodle, or excuse me, the web work be worth 15%. Your in-class assignments, so your participation is worth 5% of your grade. The mini lab assignments are worth 5% of your grade. And then exams 1, 2, and 3 are each worth 30% of your grade. Those of you that are good at math have probably noticed that this totals 115%. There's a little footnote there that says the weight of the exam on which you receive the lowest score will be reduced to 15%. So what that means is that if you bomb one test, it's really not going to affect your grade too terribly. It's still mathematically possible. Even if you flat out made a 0, it would be on one exam, it would be mathematically possible for you to still pull an 85, which would be a B in this class. I don't think anybody's going to score a 0 on anything. It's just something that I have built in to help, I don't know, relieve some of the stress of taking this class, because in the past it's been awful to people. I'm trying not to do that. So yeah, so whichever test you do the poorest on will only count for half, so that you have 2 more opportunities to do well and successfully pass and all that kind of good stuff. Because I believe myself to be so benevolent, I do not curve. So if you want to make an A in this class, you need to make a 90.00 or higher. An 89.99 is considered a B. And then the rest of the grades, grading scales are on there. Syllabus, I don't expect anything to have to change, but if it does, I reserve the right to do so as long as I let you know that I did it. Here's our tentative course schedule. So today we have covered an introduction and syllabus. On Monday, we will actually get into the course material proper. Sorry, let me minimize this little window so I can see things better. If you will notice, there are going to be common night exams between the 2 sections, and they will all occur on Thursday evenings. There's also a review before each exam for you guys to ask even more questions about any of the material that you may be struggling with or have questions about. So hopefully this should be fairly straightforward for you guys. Yeah. So does anybody have any questions about anything?
Is the last exam cumulative?
So traditionally it has been. I'm considering not doing that. I'm on the fence. I'll let you know well beforehand, but we can discuss that right now actually, and I can take your input. I'm happy to do that. So traditionally, exam 3 is a cumulative exam where roughly 30% is the material that was covered for exam 1, 30% was the material covered for exam 2, and 40% was all the material covered after exam 2. The reason I'm not particularly a fan of that format is because certain students, and it's typically electrical engineering students, but not always, will do well on exams 1 and 2, and then say, well, since I know all of that material, I'm guaranteed to make at least a 60 or so on exam 3, and so I will just completely check out and not pay attention for the last several weeks of class, which means I have to waste an awful lot of time in circuits 2 going over all of that material again, so that the students can be successful there. So having exam 3 be cumulative is good because it means that the last third of the class, which can be considerably difficult, just because of all the extra bookkeeping you have to do because everything is dealing with complex numbers, it makes it a little easier to potentially pass that test, because so much of the material that's on it is stuff you've already done. That being said, it doesn't push you guys to actually learn any of the new material, which is what I feel to be the biggest downside. So, do any of you have thoughts?
Cumulative sounds good to me, but that's just...
Yeah, anybody else have anything?
So you're basically saying the last test isn't cumulative because you want us more to learn the last part of the class?
I am saying that I'm saying my choice would be the last test would not be cumulative for exactly the reason that you specified. That being said, I don't want to change things too much, so I am willing to make it cumulative if that's what you guys would prefer.
I mean, I prefer not, but...
So I have 1 vote for cumulative and 1 vote for not cumulative.
So if it was not cumulative, then it would be 100% new material, and that would be like all of the questions would just be new material.
That is correct. All of the questions would be covering the material that is covered after exam 2. So complex numbers, phasors and impedance, and then steady state sinusoidal circuit analysis techniques, which I've broken down into, I believe, 5 sections effectively over the month of August, it looks like.
I don't know if you're keeping up with the chat, but somebody asked if the non-cumulative would make it potentially harder to pass the class.
I'm not keeping up with the chat. Let me see if I can find that. So would making it non-cumulative make it potentially harder to pass the class? The answer is yes and no. And so let me explain what I mean by that. So the material that I put on exam 3, traditionally, as I said previously, 30% of that comes from exam 1, and then 30% of that comes from what we covered for exam 2. Typically speaking, the material that comes from exam 1 and exam 2, I give harder problems in exam 3, the cumulative exam, because you've had a significant amount of time to get practice on that type of work. And I don't know, process and synthesize that information. So to say that exam 3, even if it only covered the material presented after exam 2 isn't cumulative, is kind of wrong, because everything that we're going to do in this class builds off of the previous lecture all the way through it. So what I mean by that is that everything we do in our steady state sinusoidal analysis section, which is 5 lectures and change, will be almost exactly what we do on lectures 1 through, 10. So all of the DC circuit analysis portion of the class, it's the exact same thing, except that you're using complex numbers. So the level of difficulty for exam 3 is going to depend on your ability to do material from exam 1 and exam 2, whether or not it's technically cumulative or only covering the steady state sinusoidal portion. Does that make any sense?
It does make sense.
So I see, I'm not sure how to pronounce Yives, I don't know.
I think
Cuccinella.
I would prefer non-cumulative.
I would prefer non-cumulative too, personally.
So right now, I believe we have 3 votes for non-cumulative and 2 votes for cumulative. Here's a 4th vote for non-cumulative. Can I start a poll? Let's see. Let's see if I can figure out how to do that. More. There's a big microphone. All right, I had a question. This is a fantastic suggestion for you that you guys have offered. Let me see how to do this now. Would you all prefer cumulative or non-cumulative? All right, there is now a poll with 1 question. So go answer it. I don't know how to do that, but you guys do it. See that Caleb Maddox has raised his hand. I don't know what that means. I'm very bad at Zoom, if you guys can't tell. So Caleb, if you want to unmute yourself and say whatever it is you wanted to say, let's do that.
I hit the wrong button. Sorry about that.
No problem.
I can't figure out how to get to the poll.
Me neither.
Well, son of a, dang it. I almost swore on my recorded Zoom. All right, so let's see if I can figure out how to do that part of it. That's a great thing.
If you post it on Moodle, I think we might be able to get to it.
So that's okay. I know how to do this on Moodle. So how about we will leave the question of cumulative versus non-cumulative up in the air, and I will create a poll on both of the Moodle pages, and then you guys can answer there so we can move this along. How does that sound?
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, because I don't know how to do this on Zoom. I'm bad at it. All right. Let's see. Can we circle back to the syllabus? All right. Well, actually, I guess that kind of pretty much covered all the syllabus tests and all that kind of good stuff. Okay, so does anybody have any other questions about the class or anything like that in general? How many of you, or maybe you don't want to answer this, but have any of you taken circuits before?
Yes.
Yes.
How many of you have taken it with me? Let's start there.
No.
Okay, well, hopefully, those of you who are taking it with me for the first time, this will be your last time taking it, period. That's my goal. I don't know. I
have a question.
Yes.
So will we be meeting via Zoom on the Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday time frames?
Yes, since this class is starting as online, it will be online the entire duration of the summer quarter. If you have an internship or something like that, or really any other time conflict that prevents you from showing up to one of the Zoom meetings, that is perfectly okay by me. Like I said earlier, all of the lecture materials will be pre-recorded. These class times will be for you guys to ask questions of me and for us to work example problems together. And I will be recording all of those problem working sessions and posting them online for the benefit of everyone as well. So if this is the only class meeting you're able to attend, that's perfectly fine. If you're able to attend all of them, that's great too.
Great, thanks.
I think you might have answered this earlier, but how far ahead will you be posting the lectures?
I can post them. I need to make the first 3 lectures video materials. I need to create those because I taught the first 3 lectures in person last quarter.
Right.
And then after that, I have all of the materials already prepared, although some of the lectures may be a little weaker than I want, so I may revisit them. But I would like to be able to, let's say, try this weekend for sure to get your lecture 1 and 2 materials up so that you'll have plenty of time. So like for the lecture on Monday, let's say, you should expect to have that material available to you tomorrow at the latest.
Okay.
And then I'll try to give you guys a couple of days of leeway so that you have some flexibility in when you watch it. I don't expect you to block out. I don't think there may be 1 or 2 videos that I have that run over an hour long. The overwhelming majority of them are like 30 minutes tops for the theory stuff. So it shouldn't be a huge time investment for you guys to watch the videos, but I don't want to enforce some sort of weird rigid structure where even outside of class, I am dictating how you're doing things.
Right.
A day to be able to watch the video. I don't know, write down some questions you may have about it, and then we can discuss them in class. So it shouldn't be you spend an hour before class watching this, and then that. I'll give you more time than that because that would be, I don't know. I wouldn't like that if I were a student, so I can imagine that you guys would hate it.
All right. Thank you.
Excuse me, Dr. Harden.
Anything?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. My question was, I actually emailed you earlier about the material not being on Moodle. Are you going to do that after this class, or because I remember you said you sent me the Zoom link, but it's not actually on the Moodle page yet, like the V84 Moodle.
So what I did on the V84, let me look at my other computer real quick. So the issue that I'm having is that they scheduled both classes, both sections of Circuits 1 at the same time. And I don't know how to copy that information over. So what I did on the V84 page, I sent you guys, all of the students in the section V84, an email with the Zoom information. And then I believe if you go onto the courses Moodle page now and you scroll down to on the introduction section to where it says, damn it, did it not save it? Hold on, let's see. Show more. Okay, so that's my fault. I think I did it on the wrong one. So I'm updating it right now to where all of that information like you may not be able to click the link and immediately jump in, but all of the information with regards to the actual link itself, the meeting ID, the password, and all that kind of stuff should be available on the description.
Yes, sir. I can see the information on the outside, but like when I actually click on the tool, there's no like place to join it, but that's fine if that's the only way that we can do it.
Yeah, look, I'll work on figuring out how to get that set up. If I can figure out how to manually change the meeting ID of a new meeting to match this one, I can get it set up pretty easily. I just have to figure out the logistics of that. And I didn't realize it was screwed up until 10 minutes before class because that's when you emailed me and told me, hey, it's screwed up. So I'll work on getting that set up over this weekend as best I can so that it'll be a little bit easier where you just click the start button and jump in. I'll try to get, with regards to the material, I believe that's what we were just discussing with Miss Babin, where I'm going to try to have everything up for you a couple of days ahead of time. As far as the in-class assignment problems and all that kind of stuff, I've had those prepared for quite some time. so I can get all that stuff, but I need to make a couple of these lectures. For the most part, all the material that I'm going to be covering in this class is on my YouTube channel, so I can put a link to that, and then you can see everything. But for those of you that don't want to go through my hodgepodge of a YouTube channel where it's a mix of what I've taught in Circuits 1 and Circuits 2, I will put the specific topics up that we are expected to cover for each day on our course's Moodle pages. So it'll be a little bit better organized on Moodle than it is on just my YouTube channel thing.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Dr. Hartman?
Yes.
My last professor did in-class assignments. They were more as of a participation grade. Are you going to be grading those just the fact that we did them, or for like correctness?
No, it was completion and not correctness. So our in-class assignments, those are the problems that instead of, I don't know if you had Dr. Harbour or Dr. Paul, but either way, they're using my in-class assignments. So it's probably going to be those similar problems, but we are going to work them together in class.
Oh, okay.
Instead of having them where you guys work on them at your leisure. So as I said before, the theory content of the lectures will be pre-recorded and you'll watch that before coming to class. Then we'll work through the in-class assignments, which is your participation grade, and then we can expand on those problems or take a look at some of your homeworks and things like that to fill out as much or as little extra time as you want in the class. So like I don't anticipate any of these 2-hour blocks we have for the lectures actually taking 2 hours unless you all want them to. I'm happy to work as many problems as you want to help you guys get comfortable with the material, or as little problems as you want to until you feel comfortable with the material. Did that answer your question?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
No problem. You were in my engineering 120 something class, right?
121.
Okay, it's been a hot minute, but your name seemed familiar. Okay, cool. Nice to talk to you again.
I agree.
I'm sorry, is there a way that you can post the in-class assignments ahead of time?
Absolutely, yeah. It is my intention to post those significantly ahead of time as well, so that you guys can take a look at those problems. You know, if you want to take a crack at beforehand, may inform the questions that you ask. By all means, do so.
Right. I just want to be able to like print them all out so I don't have to worry about going back and forth, and like, you know, if that can be a thing, that would be really cool.
Yes. So typically speaking, what I do is I would have the lecture material, and then so like what I did, well, let's say, typically speaking, what I did last quarter was I had all the video lecture material as kind of like the first few things.
Right.
And then I had a forum that literally nobody used to ask questions about the materials. So instead of having that online forum thing that nobody used, we're going to use class time to answer those questions.
Right.
I had the in-class assignment, then I had a place for you to submit the in-class assignment, and then I had the solution to the in-class assignment went live after they were due or something like that. So this time, instead of having the forum, I'm gonna record our talking about stuff. So that'll satisfy that. The in-class assignment itself should be posted with the lecture material. So you should have that a couple of days beforehand as well.
Okay.
I could, since they're already all pre-prepared, just create a folder and call it in-class assignments and literally dump all 24 of them in there if you want. Doesn't matter to me which way you guys want to do it, whether you want to have them all in one centralized location or have them, I guess, attached to the lecture material they cover, or I could do both. Maybe I'll do both. But yeah, you should have access to them at least a day or two before the lecture itself so that you can print it out and all that kind of good stuff.
All right. Thank you.
Yep. Any other questions?
Hey, Dr. Hartman.
Yes.
Could you possibly repeat the name for that free PDF? The name to look up for the title?
Okay. Once I remember where to find chat. So the textbook is Circuit Analysis and Design by Ulabi, First, and Maharbiz. So if you Google that, let's see what happens if I Google it. Can you guys see my screen with where it's?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay, yeah, so this first link, which I've apparently clicked on before, you click on that and then it says download free textbook, PDF, or purchase a low-cost hard copy. If you want the hard copy, it's $75. I have the hard copy as well as the digital copy because I don't like to carry around a big heavy textbook everywhere. But I think it is a very good textbook. Probably goes a little bit more in depth than is necessary for a first course in circuits. And it also has a lot of asides on material that is significantly more advanced. Like some of the, I think they call them like technology briefs, are stuff that I learned about in graduate school. But as far as just the basic circuit theory stuff, it's all there. Any circuit analysis textbook is going to have the material that we're going to cover in this class. This one is just available for free online, so you don't even have to feel bad about pirating it.
Cool, thank you.
Yep. Any other questions? Alrighty, nobody is saying anything, so I feel like this is a good stopping point for today. So just to recap, I'm going to get the lecture materials, the video lectures and all that kind of stuff recorded in the next day or two, edited and uploaded by tomorrow. I will put all of the in-class assignments together in a folder on the introduction section for those of you that want to see them ahead of time. I will also be placing the in-class assignments side by side with the lecture material if that's the way you choose to follow along. I can't really think of anything else we need to talk about, so have a good weekend.
You too.
All right, catch you guys later.
Thank you, you too.